Ahmadis, to other Muslim followers, like the use of masjid. All masjid in Indonesia is open for only Muslims. About the marriage system, it's restriction for only Ahmadis. Ahmadis women only want to be married by Ahmadis men. So this is some problem in terms of social interaction.
500,000 Ahmadiyya followers worship across Indonesia. Their detractors say they could have full religious freedom if they concede they are not true Muslims. But Indonesia's Ahmadiyya leaders maintain they are.
The basic essence of Islamic conversion vows. We practice it in other Islamic teachings. We pray facing the Kaaba. We fast during Ramadan.
Ahmadiyya's leadership meet once a month in the safety of a compound. Their spokesman says Indonesia should be more open-minded.
What we regret is our different interpretations should be talked through a dialogue. It's certainly not going to be resolved by physical attacks.
One of Indonesia's most prominent lawyers, Adnan Boyong Nasution, wants to take on Ahmadiyya's case. But that means also taking on Indonesia's mainstream Muslim bodies, who denounce them as heretical.
I doubt that they really dare to make a case against those people. I understand why, because they're afraid they became more angry, more aggressive, because they are bigger than Ahmadiyya. It's a very small group.
Indonesia's constitution guarantees freedom of religion in a nation where more than 85% of the population are Muslim. However, a blasphemy law currently enacted only recognises 6 official religions and imposes a 5-year jail term for any follower who strays away from their central tenets. There's another law that prevents minorities from building houses of worship without the support of 90 people. A minority of Indonesian hardliners have used the law to protest the building of churches and synagogues. Earlier in the year, violent attacks closed some 20 Christian churches, forcing at least one congregation to worship in the streets. The laws are also being used to justify attacks on religious minorities like Ahmadiyya. This amateur footage taken in 2008 near Riau in Sumatra shows an Ahmadiyya mosque being targeted by a local mob. High in West Java's hinterland, larger Ahmadiyya strongholds have also been under attack. Scorched floors and burnt Qurans remind the village head Mubarak Ahmed of last September's attack on the mosque, madrasa and surrounding houses.
They didn't only throw stones, but also Molotov cocktails, causing the mosque to burn. The carpet was burned. The young people tried to put out the fire and mistakenly thought to fight back. Then the attackers ran away and one person got stabbed.
The community are rebuilding the mosque, but they are adamant it will happen again because tension remains high.
We find that some authorities are not neutral. They seem to be defending the other party. We have reported the threats and they claim that the attackers blocked them and couldn't get through, and they are the ones who should control the public and keep order, not the other way around.
But despite their issues with Ahmadiyya, the government says authorities do what they can to protect Ahmadiyya communities.
We always ask the police to do what the law have to do to anybody who distract and break the law. But again, sometimes there are some constraint that the police cannot get the very clear and very comprehensive report.
Back on the island, Khairuddin has a lot to consider. The group will only get facilities here if they sell their assets. He will need to source fresh water for his family and find a boat to work. But what this island does provide is a safe place to live.
Despite the hard times of having to move and having our houses destroyed, it's nothing compared to staying true to our faith. Our relations with God shouldn't be disturbed.
Coming up after the break, we ask if religious intolerance is on the rise here in Indonesia. Stay with 101 East.
Rhythms of resistance.
A part of the struggle and popular resistance is art. Through my art, I resist. Resistance is my art, and my art is my war.
Musicians using music as a way to maintain their cultural identity.
I believe that when I sing to the world, I portray Palestine through my voice, my singing, and my songs.
Songs from the lost homeland. At this time, on AlJazeera.
A debilitating condition afflicting millions of women across the developing world.
Sometimes it is not possible to cure a patient with fistula. We have to prepare her psychologically.
Revealing the human stories behind fistula and its intimate connection to poverty. A powerful new series exploring global maternal health. Birthrights, at this time on AlJazeera.
14 competing teams, 13 different venues, 3 host nations. Cricket is part of the fabric of life here, and this competition is the pinnacle of the one-day game. We'll be bringing you all the action and reaction from India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. The Cricket World Cup on AlJazeera.
Welcome back to 101 East. This week we come to you from the Istiqlal Grand Mosque in Jakarta. After a recent spate of attacks against minority religious groups, we're asking if religious intolerance is on the rise here in Indonesia. Joining us on the panel now is Muhyiddin Junaidi from the Indonesian Council of Clerics.
Yes.
Also Andreas Harsono from Human Rights Watch. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Welcome.
Muhyiddin, if I could start with you. Indonesia has been held up as an example of a mainly or a majority Muslim nation that's moderate and embraces diversity and democracy. But does religious freedom actually exist here?
Yes, definitely. Right from the time of Indonesian independence, our country has been enjoying religious freedom. As a matter of fact, though we represent majority, the Muslim, but we never claim that we are majority, and there is no state religion. We have got 6 recognized religions. It's quite different from Malaysia.